up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
Don't let that team stand in the way. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Graham Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and running here on a Thursday. I am Brandon Beam, hanging out with the Murph Dog, Patrick Murphy, and of course our guy, Rhyme Time, Jacob Reimer behind the glass. Murph, great to talk to you here on this beautiful Thursday. What's happening, buddy?
Not much. I'm glad we're finally getting to do this.
Long time coming.
Yeah, it really is.
We've only been hanging out for the last 10 years or so.
Basically.
First show we've ever done together.
Yeah. At
Talk
least
to
a
you
full show.
many a times via the phone. We'll talk to you again on the phone tomorrow at 6:45, even though you're still going to be with us.
Yeah, I'll just
You're going to
step
leave
out.
the studio. We're going to play beers and Buckeyes, and we're just going to talk to you on the phone.
I love it.
That's what we're going to do. How's your Thursday, all right?
It's good. It's good. Other than my new neck back issue that I was telling you about before the show.
Yeah,
but
you're getting old.
I
That's
am.
what's happening, man.
I am. It's
I mean,
happening
sometimes
quickly.
you just wake up and you have random aches and pains. That's what it is. That's the life of an old man.
Yep. It's hit me this week pretty hard.
I mean, you play soccer for the first time since last August.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, your neck is falling apart.
Right. Well, it doesn't help when we're standing out at these Ohio State camps on turf fields all day and, who knows what the weather is. So, but it is what it is.
Hey, you
We
just battle through. You
Exactly,
battle through,
exactly.
okay? By the way, I love your supporter supply shirt that you have on today. A little USA jersey, not even a men's national team, but could be the women's, could be the men's. They do play tonight against Saudi Arabia, a very good CONCACAF rival that they've got. So looking forward to that happening. We got all kinds of good stuff to get into today. Great show lined up for you. We got a new bill that was introduced in Michigan that was raising some eyebrows. We'll get into that coming up here around 6:17 a little bit later on. Jake Diebler had some media availability yesterday. We'll take a listen to him in the 6 o'clock and the 7 o'clock hour. College football pulse coming up top of the 7 o'clock hour. But we'll start first today, Pat, with some Buckeye recruiting. All right, so it was a big day for Ohio State. We were talking a bit about this a little bit earlier in the week. We had Berm in studio with us on Tuesday when I was hanging out with Austin, and he was alluding to the fact that the Cleveland-Glenville pipeline may in fact be opening again for Ohio State. So Cincere Johnson, linebacker, Cleveland-Glenville, announced they had a commitment today for early in the afternoon, I believe around noon. And then you also had eyes on Luke Wafel. And Luke Wafel decided, I'm not going to Ohio State. We're going to go to USC. We'll get into that story here in a little bit. But let's focus on the Buckeye commit because we've got Cincere Johnson, who actually committed to Ohio State today. So a big boom before we get to the dead period a little bit later on here this weekend.
Cincere Johnson is everything you want in a Buckeye linebacker. I thought it was interesting that his tweet featured a picture of James Laurinaitis, who will coach Cincere Johnson.
Doing a nice job, James.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. It's easy to see, just a quick side tangent on James.
Tangent all the way. We've got an hour and 55 minutes to go.
When we are out at these camps and he's working with the high school kids that are there, like you can just see why kids want to play for James Laurinaitis. Not only was he a great Buckeye and then played in the NFL and is the all-time leading tackler for the St. Louis Rams, but he just...
Pretty good accolades. He just rattled off.
Yeah, not bad. But he is... The way he works with them, the way he communicates with these guys, he's joking, but he is serious at the same time. The way he can demonstrate the drills, he's still young enough. He could be going through all of those things. Maybe not the level he once was.
He's a little slimmed down from his playing days.
But I completely understand why it's worked out so well. It makes a lot of sense. He's back at his alma mater, all that. But Cincere Johnson, according to our rankings, he's the number 2 player in Ohio.
Nice.
I think some people may even have him as the number 1 player in Ohio, a top 100 prospect. And this was a guy that the Buckeyes, especially you mentioned Glenville pipeline, you have to get a guy like this. He's too talented to let go anywhere, and he had his options. I think his final 3 were Alabama, Penn State, and Ohio State.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and he had been committed to Florida at some point, right?
That could be. I
feel like Berm said that, and I'm like, how did that go for them? Because they weren't even in the final 3. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was someone else who he was talking about there. Yeah. I could be confused.
Well, he had his pick of the litter. And look, you assume a kid growing up in the state of Ohio wants to be at Ohio State, especially a talented player, especially coming off of a national championship. But we've seen in the past guys that, hey, I want to go somewhere else. I want to do my own thing. spread my wings, maybe see a different part of the country. This is not a guy that the Buckeyes could let that happen for them. He had to be in this class, and he'll be a good one. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He was very high on James Laurinaitis and the entire defensive staff's list. We saw him at camp, and impressive. Every bit of the 6'3", 240, and he's probably only going to get bigger if they do. But they definitely see him as a linebacker. Not, I know some people have talked about maybe he outgrows that and moves to defensive line, but I don't think that's what Ohio State's expecting.
Well, I mean, if it's whatever's in the water up there in Glenville, because I mean, if you're going with the Arvell Reese line of thinking that every time you see him, he gets larger. So whenever Cincere Johnson gets onto campus, I think we're excited for him. Again, edge, 6'3", 240 pounds. Here's what your comrade over at 24/7 Sports, Hudson Standish, had to say about Cincere Johnson. Explosive front seven defender with an on-off ball versatility who likely finds a home as an edge rusher with the skill set to drop into coverage. Verified hovering around 6'3", 240 with encouraging short area quickness, redirection skills, and initial burst. Possesses this length to impose his will at the line of scrimmage. Love those will imposers. And will pursue the football with a fervor until the whistle. Worked out at off-ball linebacker in April 25 at the Under Armour Columbus Regional Camp. Was excellent in coverage against pass catchers who were anywhere from 50 to 80 pounds lighter. Does not own a deep bag of pass rushing moves, but has the physical tools to develop into a compact power rusher at the next level. Fluid mover, open field, who has flashed sideline to sideline ability, profiles as a havoc-generating front seven defender at the highest levels of the college game, who can win with a blend of initial burst and power. Yeah, that's a freak athlete. If I'm just writing a little synopsis of what I'm reading from Hudson, a guy who's 6'3", 240 and can cover sideline to sideline and is a havoc wreaker, yeah, okay, that's a freak athlete. And then you get here, developed at Ohio State. I'm excited to see what he can bring.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the Glenville pipeline, you've got three guys.
That's important, man.
Yes. You've got three guys on the roster. You mentioned Arvell Reese, but Bryce West, the cornerback, who I think Buckeye fans are going to see more of this season. And then Demarion Witten came in as a tight end, is now a wide receiver. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably know the past and the Ted Gins and the Troy Smiths and guys like that have come through. To have programs that develop like that in Ohio, you need to be in that program. You need to be landing those guys, and this is just the latest. They're stars. I mean, they come in maybe not ready to go at Ohio State, but as ready to go as most programs are going to produce, especially in the Midwest.
And then you get a few years here, and then you're ready to go. And then it's a good time. So I did see you tweet out something funny today because Ohio State got the commitment from Cincere Johnson, jumped them up to number 2
correct
in the recruiting rankings, according to the 24/7 Sports composites. And then Texas A&M got a commitment literally 4 minutes afterwards, and then Texas A&M leaped Ohio State. They're now in number 2. Ohio State dropped down to number 3, but still, everything is all fine in Buckeye recruiting land.
Yeah, you're good. It was only just because I wrote a story. It didn't even take me that long to write the story about how Ohio State had moved up to number 2. They were number 5 going into the day, which is still a pretty good spot to be in. And I published a story, tweeted out, and then I'd embedded like the rankings in our story.
You said, oh no.
I'm looking back and I'm like, wait, Texas, did I miss something? And I go to our Texas A&M site, 5-star commit. And I was like, that's what did
That'll
it.
do it.
Like, well, this story's
already old.
Yep.
And it's 3 minutes old.
Yes. So, but yes, they were number 2, and number 3 will be okay. And look, they've got a handful of guys. There are guys visiting this weekend.
Yeah,
this is a long way to go until the early signing period in December, and then the signing day, I guess, in February. So
yeah, but that one doesn't really do anything anymore, does
not
it?
as much anymore.
Yeah.
So December's really when you pretty much lock it down. Every once in a while you'll see a kid that waits, but the Buckeyes are in a good spot for a top 5, top 3. It's been a while since they've had, I don't know if in our ranks if they've ever had the top class in the country. So
what about this past class that just left, like the Lathan class, the Jack Sawyer, JT? Were they number 1 back then?
I think that was number 2 in the rankings.
Okay.
They've been number 2 several times. I know that. We're splitting hairs here. I mean, that class
they
obviously.
They were number 2.
Yeah,
they were number 2.
That class turned out to be pretty good. So
they just won a national championship.
Yeah, right. So I think you're okay with finishing number 2 in the recruiting rankings if you walk away with that ring. Several rings, actually, that they got on their fingers there. Absolutely.
So Buckeye commitment today, Cincere Johnson, Glenville connection, still off and rolling. The Buckeyes did miss on a commitment from a player, though, today. And we've got chaos in different states when it comes to following NIL rules. That's next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
No matter where they're from, what they look like, or who they or their parents love, all students need safe, welcoming learning environments that embrace them for who they are, regardless of race, background, gender, ability, or anything else. Ohio's public school educators are dedicated to the well-being and potential of all students, no exceptions.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
AgPro has been family owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
What does summer bring to mind? Lazy days by the pool? Hot dogs on the grill? How about large, sweaty men putting work in to defend their national title? Yes! Your summer home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get one juicy flame grill Whopper sandwich, one original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly sunny, breezy, and comfortable on this Thursday. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, down to around 60 by Friday morning after a cool, crisp start. A pretty warm finish. Plenty of sunshine back in the mid 80s by Friday afternoon. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
It's time for your daily dose of vitamin B. B stands for Buckeyes, just in case that wasn't clear. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hanging out here on a Thursday, Patrick Murphy, the Murph Dog, in with us. And tomorrow as well, Pat.
And tomorrow.
Excited to hang out with you for the next couple of days. What are you working on right now? What do you got going on? I mean, you're always publishing over there in Bucknuts, and we know that your story from earlier today was wrong with the rankings. What do you got cooking? Anything you got in the fire over there?
Well, as you teased earlier, we talked with Jake Diebler earlier this week, so it was like 25 minutes, which is great for to do during the summer. But so we'll have some of that basketball stuff. Steve Hellwagon, my coworkers, already published some stuff on that, so kind of sifting through that here as we go to break. Other than that, it's really this is time of year you get done with these camps. And it's like, all right,
hangout time.
You kind of coast to Big Ten Media Days. Obviously, we still need content on the website, so you got to come up with some stuff.
And the radio show, Pat. I like you guys, everyone who covers Ohio State on the beat, very good at doing the content game because most of that content then comes here to the Buckeye Show.
Right. You got to figure it out. Got to be creative.
Have to at this time of the year for sure. Are you looking forward to going to? Actually, you know what? We'll save that. We'll save that because I know you're eyeing up Vegas for Big Ten Media Days, and we'll get into that a little bit later on, especially when we get into July. We're going to call you from Vegas.
That's fine.
We're going to call you from a club in Vegas. We were just talking about Cincere Johnson and the commitment today, 4-star edge / linebacker out of Glenville. Ohio State could have been in line today for another commitment. Now, this was one of the wilder NIL commitment stories that you're going to find. Now, we've seen some crazy ones back in the day, but this one was a nice heated race between Ohio State and USC. I was reading this from 11 Warriors. This is by Garrick Hodge. Said a priority Ohio State defensive end target is headed west, despite all indications pointing to the Buckeyes handing Luke Wafel as late as early Wednesday evening. So that was last night. And I believe Steve Wiltfong was all over this, and he had maybe changed his prediction from USC, locked it into Ohio State. And then this morning it was back to USC. So there was a lot happening there. And Garrick wrote this. He said the recruitment of Wafel had been back and forth over the past week. USC gaining plenty of momentum following his official visit with the Trojans last weekend. Ohio State reportedly upped its NIL offer to Wafel on Wednesday, according to On3 Steve Wiltfong, leading to a flurry of predictions that the New Jersey product would land in Columbus from various recruiting networks. USC struck back late Wednesday evening, per Wiltfong. The Trojans offered Wafel a lucrative deal that would pay him between $2.2 and $2.6 million over 2 years. He announced today at like 3 o'clock that he was indeed heading west to another Big Ten program, going to hang out with Lincoln Riley and USC. It was a wild 24 hours between the Buckeyes and the Trojans.
Yeah, and I thought Garrick did a good job summarizing that. Like, I'd heard last night the same thing. Okay, this is done. We were getting ready to have everything done that we do ahead of time on the site when we know somebody's going to commit. Then this morning it flips back, and it quickly became apparent that this was NIL related. And I think there's a few things to consider here. Like, first of all, if you are a 17-year-old, and someone tells you they're going to pay you that much money for 2 years of
go live out in Los Angeles,
the thing that you're going to play anyway, regardless of where you go, I think you take it. It's hard to turn down anyway. Now, Ohio State fans, and this is Ohio State's selling point, is look, the money is going to come on the back end at a place like Ohio State where you know you're going to be developed. Say what you will about Larry Johnson, but the guys that he's put in the NFL, it's a long list at this point. So from an Ohio State standpoint, it's like, look, we're not going to match a ridiculous offer because
we're not getting an arms race.
Exactly. And they were going to, they had their offer. They'd figured it out. They're not going to break the bank on high school kids. We've seen how the Buckeyes want to do this with player retention. They will pay when they think there is a kid out there that they need to pay. And there's certainly
Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs,
premium positions too. And not that edge rusher isn't one of them. It certainly is. I think they've started to recognize the need to pay more for major offensive linemen. They're in the running with 2 5-star guys right now. So there's that side of it. And then there's the USC side where Lincoln Riley's buyout, I think, is something like $87 million.
It's a lot. I was looking at that a few months ago, and it's astonishingly high.
Right. So if you were USC, would you rather pay him and then to not coach and then go pay another coach to coach, or just load up on kids and try and make this work. Obviously, things are changing with revenue sharing, but you're still going to have NIL. I believe USC has 30 kids committed in their class, including Luke Wafel. By the way, glad you got his name right. I've heard a few people just go with Waffle.
Yeah, I hadn't heard an interview with him or anything. I was just saying to myself, it's W-A-F-L-E.
One F.
If it was two Fs, it would be waffle. Right. If it's one F, it screams to me Wafel.
You didn't waffle on that.
Way to go.
Yeah, there we go.
What a zinger.
So, yeah, I think, look, it makes sense if you are USC and you need to get these guys in here. You're trying to win now because if you don't, you're going to be paying Lincoln Riley to go off into the sunset. And if you're Ohio State, this is a kid you really wanted, no doubt about it. There are some other talented edge rushers still available, including one who was going to visit USC, last name of Ford, first name is escaping me right now, who's now going to visit Ohio State.
Yep.
And you have your options out there. They did not feel that this was a break-the-bank moment. And look, there's still time. We talked about that just a minute ago. Maybe Luke looks back on this over the next few months. Buckeyes keep talking to him.
Sure.
Decides, hey, the opportunity maybe is better to go to Ohio State, take that offer, and get developed, and we know it's going to happen. Maybe he ends up going to USC, hitting the transfer portal down the road, and they revisit it. Maybe he has a great career at USC.
Maybe he becomes a Trojans legend.
Yeah, but I think the Buckeyes will be fine. Ryan Day and his staff have a proven path now, and they're not going to change from that.
I was listening to the Bobby Carpenter show a little bit earlier. I think it was yesterday, and Bob was working out with Carlos Lachlan, running backs coach here at Ohio State. And he said that him and Locke were having discussions with some of these, running back commits. And I think that you could take the running back position and, just kind of spread it around to all the positions and whoever these recruits are that they're going after. And I think, Pat, that you made a very important point there. Like, this isn't just, the defensive line room at Ohio State doing this. This is an entire organization from the top down. This is their recruiting strategy, that they're not going to pay a running back commit $2 million. You know, you get here, you work, you come here, you want to be a Buckeye, and then your play on the field, you will have plenty of opportunities, and that's the way that they're going. So there's a lot of different areas and avenues to attack NIL right now. Some people splashing the cash, some people not so much doing so, but we'll see what happens when the House settlement kicks in on July 1st. That edge rusher who you were talking about, Kevin KJ Ford, will take an official visit to Ohio State here this weekend. He's 6'4", 245, four-star from Duncanville, Texas, and he was originally scheduled to take an official visit to USC tomorrow, but with the Luke Wafel commitment, he decided not to go there, and he's coming to Ohio State here this weekend. So change of travel plans for him.
Yeah, and this is how this goes, right? I mean,
it's recruiting, man.
Yeah. One kid goes somewhere, your attention turns to another kid, and that doesn't mean that you were prioritizing one guy over the other. It could mean that Ford was decided, look, I'd rather go out to L.A., and now that's not an option. Oh, okay, Ohio State, that's a pretty good option as well. So I think all's well that ends well. And so if Ohio State certainly needs to add defensive linemen to the class, they have one so far for 2026. Certainly a priority given some of the guys you lost, and you have some older guys on the roster. But I have a feeling they'll be all right.
I think they're just going to be just fine. You know, coming off a national championship, those guys are doing it okay over there at the Woody. I was reading this today. This was a pretty wild story as well. Newly approved House settlement has created a fallout through the college sports world. We know that. House Bill number 4,643 up there in Michigan was pretty wild. All right. So Michigan today, they signed a bill. They put it into legislation. Listen to this. That in the bill would completely ban reporting deals to the NCAA. So the new House settlement deals, I believe it's Deloitte who is in charge of that, like the clearinghouse, that every NIL deal over a certain dollar amount threshold is done by Deloitte, is how I've read it and how I've understood it. So in this bill for the entire state of Michigan would completely ban reporting deals to the NCAA. On top of that, it would also prohibit schools from assisting in any investigation and ban athletic associations from penalizing athletes or schools for non-compliance. So you have the House settlement deal that is that's national law, okay? And then you have states undercutting what is to be written and settled into national law in a giant lawsuit. I don't know what's happening, but my eyes are going cross, and I would imagine that it's the same thing with athletic directors, coaches around the country saying, well, you can't, nobody's on the same playing field right now. It's all different depending the state that you live in.
Yeah, and it's been that way for too long at this point. Just think back to when NIL first really got going and like states were making their own rules.
Yes, they were.
So like you could be playing in the same conference as another program that is playing by different rules than you are, right? And look, I think there's probably a large portion of the Ohio State fan base that'll look at this and say, I know why Michigan's doing that.
Of course.
The state of Michigan, I should say. But look, this as soon as the House settlement went into effect or was announced to go into effect, as you mentioned, July 1st, people were immediately like, this is going to get challenged. You know, the fact that you can determine market value for these guys is an issue. And I get why they put this in here so that you're not just giving kids tons of money that don't necessarily deserve it. Like the idea is right. I just don't know in practice if it makes a lot of sense. And you're going to see more states challenge this and more schools have issues with things like that. But the part about working with the NCAA in any sense.
We're just done with you is what Michigan said.
And
the entire state.
Look, maybe this is the direction that it's going to end up going and the NCAA is going to disappear and Michigan, the state of Michigan, is going to look ahead of the curve on this. I have my doubts that that's going to happen anytime soon, but it is quite the story. When you sent that to me today, I had not heard it, and I was like, oh, no, this is more than just challenging the House settlement.
The best part of this story said, notably earlier in the year, the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and SEC each presented their member institutions with affiliation agreements that would prevent universities from using state laws to violate new enforcement rules. All right, so the schools has already signed an affiliate agreement that said whatever their state says, we can't listen to the U because we need to listen to our conference. So the price for not signing onto those affiliation agreements could be steep. In essence, schools risk the loss of conference membership and participation against other power league programs if they go against the agreement that they signed within their conferences and go with their state rule or state law. Yes, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, there's some good athletic programs in the state of Michigan. And
yes, there is.
Not even just the Big Ten. I mean, you think of some of the MAC schools.
Yeah, Central Michigan, Eastern, Western, all the directional Michigans.
I don't think that they would want those consequences coming their way. I also think it's important to point out that, look, sometimes these bills that get suggested, they're not done for the actual purpose of getting something accomplished, right? It's whoever is doing it tends to get some attention out of that, and that can help in terms of running for re-election.
Like the flag planting bill.
Yeah, or the you can't play top 10 games in Ohio at noon, which just
that's just not real.
No, it's
not going to happen. So quit asking about it. Jake Diebler has full faith that Ohio State is on the cutting edge of NIL. That's in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Cowan Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain inter-office emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The only radio show that bleeds scarlet and gray. This is the Buckeye Show.
Jake Diebler had some media availability, head coach of your Ohio State men's basketball program. They're just finishing up, which is always one of my more favorite weeks of the year for at least the off season for Ohio State basketball. They had all of their alumni back. It was alum week. It was very good. I saw the Ohio State basketball account tweet out something of Jake Diebler talking about what a pride and honor it is to play, and no matter when you're playing, where you're playing, who you are playing, there are always guys and alums of the program who are watching, and that was very good. But you had a chance to go to the media availability yesterday, 25 minutes long from Jake Diebler. Before we hear from him, Pat, just your biggest takeaways here for a nice little early summer Deeb sesh.
I think that there is a confidence in learning from what didn't work last year. And I think the important thing to remember is while this team did miss the NCAA tournament for a third straight season, like there was a stretch there where they were losing some big games like that. Oregon, Wisconsin, I forget what the third game was. They lost.
Northwestern?
Yeah, maybe. It was a combined 5 points.
Oh, no, they got hammered by Northwestern. Smoked.
Yeah. But they lost some of those games close. They did have some bad losses, don't get me wrong. But there was an opportunity there that they did not seize. And I think Jake Diebler looks at the way that they built the roster last year with some of those transfers and kind of went with highly rated guys from big-time programs that didn't quite pan out as freshmen, and then they still didn't pan out at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Or at least not to the level people thought. So this time around, if you're looking specifically at the transfer portal, you've got experienced guys. You've got guys who have won. And I think that, to me, is a better approach to roster building for a program like Ohio State right now, until you get things rolling again, which is the obvious goal. And I think that they have learned, they being the staff, have learned from sort of, it was year one of this program under Jake Diebler. And, I think
it's a first-time head coach.
Yeah, and
you're still trying to find your stride.
Right.
Find what works for you.
And look, you get a guy from Duke and a guy from Kentucky, both McDonald's All-American level guys.
We were all excited when that happened.
Exactly, and it just didn't work. So now you go and you find a Christoph Tilley. Okay, Santa Clara. Do we know a ton about what he did at Santa Clara? No, but if you watch,
Reimer he's a sicko. You were watching probably Santa Clara games all last year, weren't you?
Gonzaga games. Oh, yeah.
Of course you were.
But if you look at some of the film, you can see, okay, this makes more sense with the way Jake Diebler wants to play and getting up and down the court and things like that. You still need to have size in the Big Ten. They're a bigger team, not just height-wise. So, yeah, I think that just the general roster construction makes more sense, and that was something Jake talked about.
He was, and he was, to your point, this is exactly what he was talking about in this answer and priorities of building this roster.
Experience, but it started with retention. Retention was how we wanted to build out this roster. The foundation, the core, however you want to put it, was retention. I think obviously the three guys, Bruce, John, and Devin, certainly highlight that, but also for us, the retention of guys like Tayson, Colin, and Yvonne. Guys who are developing in our program was important too. Once we had those kind of pieces settled, we wanted to build out from there and complement those guys because we know there's a foundation of what Bruce, Junie, and Devin can do, right? Like we know what they can do. And by all accounts of what we've seen so far, they're all going to continue to make a jump. As we tried to add to that, we felt like experience was important in the front court, increasing our size. Like we're going to be bigger really at the 3, 4, and 5 positions. I feel like we're going to be bigger this year. That was important because rebounding was an issue for us last year. So we wanted to address that and raise our collective basketball IQ. I think experience certainly plays a role in that, right? But those were things we were targeting.
It's not necessarily, basketball IQ. It's not necessarily, we got to go get fifth-year transfers to make that happen. It's about guys who are going to play in your system and what you want to identify your system to be, what you want your culture to be, what you want Ohio State basketball to be. And it's very opposite of the strategy that they employed last year. I feel like it's a total 180 of what they were trying to do as the pendulum swings.
I think the fact that players have sort of seen this now, it wasn't just however many games Jake coached as the interim head coach. You have something to show guys. Yeah. And look, here's how we see you fit into this. Okay, this isn't exactly what we wanted, but you can see you show the tape, you see what they want to do. And so I think that makes it easier to pitch guys that fit better into your system. I think that when you are just a more recognizable name outside of the state of Ohio, and you can sell everything that goes along with Ohio State athletics, Ohio State basketball. Now you're also, I've heard the name Jake Diebler before if you weren't paying much attention. One word that he said there, and he said it a couple times, is if you paid attention to Ryan Day last January, 18 months ago, retention. That was a big one around the football program when all those guys came back, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be the same thing, but I do think that, we're talking NIL earlier, right? That's where the Buckeyes football program has focused most of their money.
There's 3 buckets that you can get into when it comes to roster building. It is player retention, it is player procurement, and then it is high school recruiting. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 avenues of building your program. And the football program has gone straight up retention model. Not to say that they're not on the recruiting trail, but again, we talked about the Luke Wafel story. They're spending $2.2 million on a kid for a 2-year deal. Ohio State's not going to do that. What they want to do is try to get kids on campus. They want to get recruits onto campus, have a commitment, and then build them. And then on the other side of that, you will see a payday. That's the way that the football program is handling it. And to your point, Jake Diebler saying retention, it was a massive deal to keep Bruce Thornton, Junie Mobley, and Devin Royal. Those were the 3 big things that needed to happen for Ohio State basketball, and they did that, and now you build around those guys.
Right, and I can tell you, being around the program on the beat, there was talk at the end of last season, will those 3 guys be back? Sure. Will 2 of them be back? Will one,
will none of them
exactly.
be back?
And that's a really real thing you have to deal with in today's college athletics in general with the transfer portal and whatnot. And
it doesn't matter which sport, but I feel like in basketball, we're a little more used to it because the transfer portal seems like it's been fast and furious. I mean, you'll have entire rosters, Pat, who turn over year after year. Well, you will have 12 new guys on your program compared to what you were using the last year. I mean, that happens way more frequently than it does on the basketball court than it does on the football field. But I was reading Athlon Sports today, and I was looking at their predicted starters for the football team, and they had 1 returning starter. And that's football. That's 22 guys, and that's Purdue, who just got rid of their coach in the offseason as well. But it's starting to, what we've seen in basketball for many years, it's now starting to trend towards the football field as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at Indiana last year in football. And you have a new coach, obviously, there, so that changes things a little bit. But, I mean, if you can prove, even if it's just 1 year, to, like we're talking about with Jake Diebler, get things going, like Indiana did last year, making the college football playoff, a 1-loss season. Say what you will about their schedule, they got there.
They won those games.
Yeah, now all of a sudden you have momentum going into this offseason, and I think that's what Ohio State is looking to do. You've got 3 guys to build around as we're talking about. How can we make this work better? Okay, let's get some size in there. Let's get another guard who can handle the ball so Bruce doesn't have to do everything, right? And Gabe Cupps from Indiana, an Ohio kid, Mr. Ohio basketball. I just think it makes more sense the way the roster is constructed now. Obviously, they have to go out come November and win games. And
yes, they do.
In the Big Ten play especially, you've got to get it done. But I feel better about this than I did maybe this time of year.
Your 3 losses that you were talking about by a combined 5 points, 73-71 home against Oregon, on the road 70-68 up at the Kohl Center against Wisconsin, and then back at home in overtime 77-76 against Indiana.
That's who it was.
That was the 3rd prong of that. So yeah, exciting stuff here. Jake Diebler was asked about the house settlement, how he feels about it. One of the 4 programs that are going to get some money. We heard that from Ross Bjork last week. It's a football program, men's and women's basketball and women's volleyball. Here was Jake Diebler's answer just on the House settlement and how it's going to play into effect for the Buckeye men's team.
Yeah, well, I think the encouraging thing about being at The Ohio State University is we're going to be on the cutting edge. And under Ross's leadership, feel real confident as to, once everything truly is settled, because I still feel like there's a lot of questions, but once everything's, truly settled, I think that's going to mean a great thing for our entire department. And certainly for our basketball program.
I mean, they're putting a lot of effort into athletics right now over at Ohio State. It's no surprise. I mean, you're one of the biggest athletic departments, if not the biggest athletic department in the country, with 36 sports. And Ross Bjork has openly said that we are trying to retain all 36 of those varsity sports, where you are seeing cuts across the board in all sorts of college athletics and conferences and teams right now. But yeah, I mean, they're putting a lot of effort. And listen, honestly, I mean, with being one of the 4 programs inside of Ohio State that is going to be making some of these dollars and allocating that to their NIL funds, inherently comes more pressure.
Absolutely. And especially if you are not a program like, say, the football team or the women's basketball program who's had some success recently, I think that certainly puts some pressure on you. And Ross Bjork was asked about this when he spoke to us last week. Like, what happens to these programs like men's basketball who probably aren't going to get as much money while football is taking a lot of it as, I don't know, pick a basketball school out there that's probably going to prioritize.
North Carolina.
Yeah. Or even just in the Big Ten, like in Illinois, for instance. Michigan State.
Come on, Bert's got it rolling over there.
But just if you are Michigan State, if you are Illinois, you're probably going to give more money to the basketball program at your school than Ohio State may give in terms of that $18 million or whatnot. So, okay, how do you work with what you get to still be competitive? And that's where you kind of have to go back to not only NIL and raising extra money to kind of raise your ceiling, but also what makes you successful as a program? What can you sell outside of the financial side of things? And that's something that Jake Diebler has experience in, because as an assistant coach, he was one of their better recruiters.
Totally.
And things like that. So I think that you've got to figure out a way to take what you get from that house settlement money, the revenue sharing, but then build on it, because you still aren't going to be at the top level in terms of your financial resources, some other programs.
Pat, you've been spending a lot of time over at the Woody for one-day camps and 7-on-7s. We're going to get your biggest takeaways from those coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill, because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Newman Roofing, as part of their 2025 Commitment to Community initiative, is proud to sponsor the Fan and 10 TV's Beat the Heat Fan Drive, benefiting Life Care Alliance. You can help Ohio's most vulnerable residents deal with the extreme heat this summer. How can you help? Purchase new box fans and bring them to the nearest Franklin County Fire Station, or you can buy online and ship fans directly to Life Care Alliance. The collection and distribution of fans is to assist residents who are at risk of heat stroke or heat exhaustion. For more information, go to lifecarealliance.org.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag Buckeyes Care.
As America's largest custom home builder, Schumacher Homes believes a top-quality home should be affordable for everyone in the Buckeye State. We work with the leading architects to bring you the latest in design, and then you have the ability to make changes. Not just selecting finishes, but moving walls, adding rooms, literally customizing anything from the ground up. It's a misconception that custom homes have to be expensive. We work within your budget to build an amazing home on your land. Visit SchumacherHomes.com or any of our 9 Ohio locations.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
Men, summertime is here, and that means vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be. And if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore. Just call Tri-State Men's Health, get treated, and see how it changes your life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. Deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an enhanced sex drive as well. And because we are so confident in the efficacy of our low T treatment protocols, for a limited time, we are offering you a free first appointment, which includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 800-900-9654. That's 800-900-9654. Or go to TriStateMen'sHealth.com. That's TriStateMen'sHealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
We're very close to Buckeye football. Very close. Uncomfortably close. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
We here on The Buckeye Show, brought to you by our great friends over at Coors Light. You know, when those mountains are blue, that means it is cold as the Rockies. Little baseball update for you, by the way. Gardo's just lost to the San Francisco Giants in their series finale, 2-1. That game just getting done out in the Bay Area. They got a 10:05 start tomorrow in Sacramento. Is that where the A's are playing right now? I saw Oakland, and I'm like, that's not right. They're not in Oakland anymore. Isn't that weird? It's just very strange to see that.
I still call the Las Vegas Raiders the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, it happens from time to time. With I feel like a multitude of different sports teams I do that with, but the Raiders the most predominant. Yeah. Even sometimes I'll say the San Diego Chargers. I'm like, they haven't been in San Diego for years.
No. They were playing in a soccer stadium in Los Angeles for a while.
Yes, they were. The StubHub Center, I believe, weren't they?
I don't know what it's called now, but yes, it was. It was the Home Depot Center for a while. I think it is StubHub now.
I mean, I think that would be pretty cool. We got some unique sports environments. You got to visit a couple last year. You got to see Ohio State play a football game in Wrigley.
Yeah, that was something. I will say that I don't know if that needs to happen regularly, but...
What would regularly be? Like once every 25 years?
Yeah, I could be okay with that.
Okay.
Because I think you have enough of a turnover of people and whatnot. I'm sure it was a cool experience for the fans. The field worked out fine, but the press box was not set up for the Ohio State beat to come take it over. I think you could do that with other programs if you want to play more games there. Obviously, Northwestern will have a brand new, very expensive stadium here in the
next year.
Yeah,
is when that's going to be.
It's 26.
I got to get out to a game because I think it's one of the cooler things. Just their like a erector set venue that they have on Lake Michigan. Right. I think it's very unique. It is very cool, and I wish Ohio State was playing a road game there this year.
Yeah, it would have been nice to play. I mean, I'd never been in Wrigley Field, so that was a cool thing. We got to go the day before and to kind of walk around a little bit. But, yeah, to actually cover the game, like the post-game situation was not ideal. It's made for a very different sport that is done in a different way, and you can tell that. The food, though.
Good?
Yes, it was great. There was an entire refrigerator of just various ice creams. ice cream sandwiches.
Nice.
So I will say that was pretty cool.
Like a Johnson, like a Kraft ice cream sandwich, or are you talking like the straight up like styrofoam chocolate with the regular vanilla ice cream?
No, this was nicer than that.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like the stuff you could just buy, at the little freezer you pull open type thing. This was, they treat their media at Cubs games good, it sounds like.
All right, good. We're going to go back there at Wrigley Field this year. No, we're not.
No.
Maybe some cup snakes out in the bleachers for a day game out in Wrigley. That would be cool. Also, one of the places I've never been as well. I've never been to anything at Wrigley. Meredith did go see a Dave Matthews Band concert at Wrigley Field one time.
I had previously gone to see a game there for a bachelor party we were in Chicago for.
A baseball game?
Yes, but we were across the street on the top of a bar where they set up bleachers.
Yeah, the rooftop bleachers.
Yes, and it was all you can eat and drink, which was cool, but you could not see third base or like most of the path to home, which was fine. We were not there for the Cubs game on our bachelor party. But it was an experience. It was not the same as being in Wrigley Field.
I still feel like that's got to be the way you watch games at Wrigley, is just on the rooftop bars that set out bleachers.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty good. But I would also like to just sit in the bleachers inside of Wrigley. Like, that would be pretty good as well.
Did it cost any money to sit in those bleachers?
You probably had to buy a ticket.
You do like a whole bar event. So it's like, I don't know if there was a big group of us. I don't know what you do if you're just like, me and Brandon want to go watch a game on the bar. I'm sure there's some deal that you can work out. But it was an experience. I'm glad we did it.
Okay, cool. Me and you going to Chicago this weekend. That's what we're going to do. Rhyme time, you can come with us as well if you would like.
Are the Cubs even home?
I don't know. I have no idea who the
We'll just go to the bar rooftops.
Yeah,
I looked up on ESPN to see if they still had Oakland Athletics on here, and it has Texas Rangers, Seattle Mariners, Los Angeles Angels, Houston Astros, and then it just says Athletics.
Oh, yeah, so they've done away now.
Yes.
They've done away with the city name. They are at home tomorrow, by the way, against the Mariners. So 2:20 tomorrow, we could maybe make it back if we took a hypersonic Blackbird. I think we could make it back for the start of the show. I mean, games are lasting, 2 hours and 15 minutes now? So that's
you're done at 4:40? We could do it. And we don't need to see the whole game. Just go, get it done, come on back. I'm sure the fan will fly us there.
Yeah, yes, they will. Fish, if you're listening to that.
We at least got to do the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah, we got to
That's
get there.
fair.
Reimer, you got to sing. Take Me Out to the
I'm
Ball
down
Game.
for that.
Okay, cool. So coming up tomorrow, we're going to recap our trip to Wrigley Field for the Mariners-Cubs game. You've been spending a lot of time over at the Woody Patch. Just your biggest takeaways, storylines. I know we've been talking about a lot of recruiting again. Sincere Johnson today committing to Ohio State. Out of Glenville, that pipeline seems to be reopened. But just what you've been taking away kind of out of these one-day camps. I know they had a 7-on-7 camp. They got a big recruiting weekend coming up. Just everything, spending time over there. What have you been gaining in the knowledge department?
It's great that they do this, and they let us come out and just kind of hang around, and we can interview the kids once the camps are done and things like that. If you cover recruiting, this is your time of year.
Like you do.
Right?
Yeah, you're a recruiting guru.
I was talking to Mick Walker from On 3 and Letterman Road the other day.
Yeah, we'll have Mick on in the future.
Yeah,
nice lad.
Mick's great, but he was like, I was like, do you love this time of year, or is it like, oh God, this is where I have to work the hardest. I have to be at these things all day, and then I have to write till 9 p.m. and then I have to be back. They used to do double headers, like coming out of COVID. They would do morning camp and afternoon camp. That was a lot. But Mick said he loves it, and I would imagine if you're going to cover recruiting, you've got to love these things. But to answer your question, Brady Edmonds, I think that's a name most Buckeye fans are probably getting familiar with, the 2027 quarterback. He was there for 3 camps, I believe. He stayed over the course of one of the official visit weekends, and I think he went out to 3 separate camps. He's a guy I thought looks the part, grew up a Buckeye fan, wants to be a part of this class. He talked about, the Ohio State might be interested in having 2 quarterbacks in that 2027 class because they don't have a 2026 quarterback. So does he care about that? Doesn't seem like it. He wants to compete. He loves the Buckeyes. I think that's exactly what Ohio State fans want to hear from any recruit, really, but especially a quarterback. Some of the other guys we talked about this last week when I was on with Tim May. Dakota Garant, the wide receiver out of Michigan. He was at one of the 7-on-7 camps, and that kid is impressive.
Yeah?
Yes. I would say that most of the guys Brian Hartline recruits are pretty good. I don't know if you've heard of
not
some of them.
ready-made. Some of them maybe more than others, but when they get here, yes, the tutelage and the teachings of Brian Hartline will get them there.
Yes, but
there's a reason why they're committed or have offers.
Exactly. He's not just handing out offers to anybody. But Garant was impressive to me. I watched him catch 3 touchdowns in a 7-on-7 game and talk some smack, which, by the way, 7-on-7 camps, if you want to hear kids go at it, maybe some coaches yelling back and forth, 7-on-7 camps are the place for you.
Well, I know that you're a pistol on the soccer pitch anyway, so you like a little trash talk.
Yeah. Right place, right time. But I think 7-on-7 is definitely for that. There was one team in particular, I don't remember what it was, but
Make it up.
From the beginning of their, games are like 20 minutes, right? From the beginning of the game, the guys on the sideline are already spouting off to the other team on the field.
Good.
And there are some words being yelled that we cannot say on here, but I knew this about 7-on-7 camps, and I'd been to some before, and I guess I just had missed this, but that was eye-opening to say. The other guy that I will bring up, and we could talk about a bunch of guys because they had a ton of them on campus over the past few weeks, but David Gabriel Georges was here this week. He is a running back in the 2027 class, and to say that he could probably play for the Buckeyes this season, just physically, would not be an understatement.
Wow.
The kid who moved from Canada last July to Tennessee. He goes to the Baylor school, same school that produced the Buckeye sophomore tight end Max LeBlanc, also Canadian. He did not speak English until he moved 11 months ago.
Wow.
He did an interview with probably 6 or 7 of us, no problem. He speaks French, he speaks Creole, and now he speaks English enough to do an interview. I feel uncomfortable if someone were to stick a microphone in my face and ask me questions doing it in English, and he did. But on the football field, really impressive. He was with Carlos Lachlan the whole day, and you could tell that Carlos Lachlan, coaching him hard, coaches all guys hard. He doesn't give you a break. It's clear why Ohio State improved so much with the running backs last year, with the way he handles things. But that was a guy who really stood out. Just physically, he was impressive, and a guy who still, even though he's a 2027, because he's just moved to the United States less than a year ago, still pretty early in his recruitment. But I would not rule out the possibility that he ends up on this campus, just given kind of talking to how much Ohio State is interested in him, and he seemed to have a pretty great time working with Coach Lachlan.
Okay, good. So that was one of the guys we'll keep our eyes out for. We're also just naming some more dudes a little bit later on in the program. For now, we're requiring something in the college football playoff this year that I already thought was a requirement. We'll do that in the Pulse coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the Fan app.
Hey, it's Anthony. Comfort is king. We all strive for it, but life gets in the way. You know that. And oh, my aching feet is not just a cliche. That's why the Good Feet store, in my opinion, has the best arch support solutions engineered to help you and me live the life we love without pain. For more than 30 years, they've taken great pleasure in helping thousands discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. I'm a customer. I have their 3-step system put right into all my shoes. They support, balance, and strengthen my feet and really guide them right into their ideal position. Every step I take, every move I make, I get relief. Not from the song, although I love that, but from my personally fit arch supports from the Good Feet store. Your free fitting is designed to help them understand you, your pain, and your discomfort, your personalized system. You'll walk out wearing your new arch supports hassle-free and begin living the life you love without pain. The Good Feet store on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town.properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get zero down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good evening. I'm Jacob Reimer. The Cleveland Guardians were unable to pull a sweep over the Giants in San Francisco. They lost today 2-1 after a one-out double by Wilmer Flores in the seventh that plated the tying and eventual winning runs for the Giants. The Guardians will stay out west for a weekend series with the Athletics. The Reds had their four-game winning streak come to an end with a 12-5 loss today at home to the Minnesota Twins. Cincinnati will now head to St. Louis for a weekend series with the Cardinals. Game 6 of the NBA Finals is tonight. Oklahoma City can clinch the title tonight with a win as they lead 3-2 over Indiana. Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton is full go tonight with no minutes limit while dealing with a right calf strain. Tip-off tonight is at 8:30. And in golf, Scotty Scheffler is in the lead at the Travelers Championship after the first round. Would you expect anything else? He's tied with Austin Eckroat at 8 under par. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hour 2 for us here on a Thursday. I told you that the Guards lost a little bit earlier in the day to the, I was going to say San Francisco 49ers. That's wrong. The Giants, 2-1. Reds not playing tonight. They are playing your favorite baseball team, Pat. Big set coming up in St. Louis for the Reds starting tomorrow.
Yes, the Cardinals are currently playing they're about to start the second game of a doubleheader against Garrick. You talked about Garrick earlier. Mm-hmm. He's a big Chicago White Sox fan, and they are terrible.
Yeah, they're smoking the White Sox in this game, 6-1.
Yes.
In the second leg of their doubleheader. Rhyme time, what do you got for us tonight, big dog?
So we have some more changes on its way in college football. The college football playoff reportedly will begin to require teams to provide player availability reports. The SEC started this rule in 2024. Do you guys think every conference should require it?
I like it. I like the fact that, we get game day updates from Jerry and the communications staff. I think it's a good thing. And with the legalized sports gambling all around the country, it's a big deal. The NFL has been doing it, for years and years and years, and availability reports. I didn't know that it was a thing that wasn't required in the college football playoff. And it was weird, Pat, because you had firsthand experience with this, covering this team through a national championship run. They put out their availability report for the first game against Tennessee.
Right.
Did they do it the second game for Oregon?
I believe, if I remember correctly, they did put it out for Oregon, but I want to say it was Penn State did not. And that's when everyone realized, we don't have to do, everyone was just in a routine each week of, okay, the availability report goes out and we can post it X amount of hours before the game starts.
Was it an hour and a half, 2 hours before?
It inevitably gets put out by Pete Thamel before then anyway, because he's got to break news on College Game Day.
Yeah.
But I remember being in, I want to say it was the Rose Bowl press box before that game, and going out on social media that Penn State was not putting out an availability report, and apparently that was not part of the rules of the college football playoff, which I guess makes sense if every conference isn't doing it.
Right.
Like, you probably just don't do it. So, yeah, Ohio State didn't do it the rest of the playoff, which, like, you know, I
in
think
the grand scheme of things, either everybody should do it or nobody should do it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think there needs to be some ground rules on, like, what it is, because too often at Ohio State, and I assume this happens other places, like, we get a guy who's questionable, and then
What does that mean?
Yeah, he has his uniform on, he comes out, he warms up, he doesn't play, and then we're asking after the game, like, what's up with so-and-so, and Coach
He
Day...
broke his foot, he'll be out for 4 weeks.
Well, no, usually Coach Day's like, it was a, emergency situation only. Okay, well then put that on the, give me a better designations or something like that, because right now it's like just out or questionable, and there's a lot of gray area with questionable.
Was it Donovan Jackson at the beginning of the year? First game out, and then like the next game I think was questionable but didn't play.
Yeah, they've done it a lot with guys, and I get it from Ohio State's standpoint. I get why, if you can, why not?
Yeah.
But I would like, if we're going to make this a universal thing, which I agree it probably should be, then let's get some rules like they have at the professional level on how you quantify this.
Yeah, we're going away from doubtful, probable. Remember that back in the day where there was like 6 different designations for NFL? Like it was out, probable,
well, and
doubtful.
hockey's the best. Like lower body injury, upper body injury.
Yeah, he's going to be on the IL for 6 weeks with an upper body injury. Well, what did you do? There's a lot of moving parts to your upper and lower extremities. Rhyme time, what else you got for us?
So let's do a list here. Reese Davis.
Love lists.
He made a list of his top 5 quarterbacks in college football in 2025. He has Texas's Arch Manning at 1, LSU's Garrett Nussmeier 2nd, Cade Klubnik at Clemson 3rd, South Carolina's Lenore Sellers 4th, and Miller Moss at Louisville is at 5. How do you guys feel about this ranking?
Well, I feel like they're pretty on par with everything that we've been hearing in the college football preseason so far. I think you can go wherever you want to with this. It's always fun to do that. I'm surprised that DJ Lagway didn't make the list there. I think he's going to have a big season down at Florida, even though the Gators may not be fantastic. But, yeah, I mean, going with Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, and Cade Klubnik as 1, 2, 3, that also follows the same suit that they fall in Heisman odds. So I think Reese Davis knows what he's talking about. Obviously, he's very good. I enjoy Reese Davis. And so, yeah, there's not really like a big Reese Davis puts Julian Sayin as number 4 on his quarterback list. I'm like, well, then it would be something. Pump the brakes, Reese. We got a quarterback competition going on here at Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, we're in the throngs of list season where everybody's putting out lists.
Yes, we were talking about earlier. You got to come up with content, right? And that's an easy, I guess, way to, you still have to justify these things, I imagine. But that is sort of easy content to do is, hey, let's project, and lists are an easy way to do that. I don't necessarily disagree with those guys. I think, like a Cade Klubnik, for instance, are you going to get Cade Klubnik for most of his career, or the Cade Klubnik who was really good towards the end of last season with Clemson and got him into the college football playoff? We obviously have Drew Aller questions with the way his season ended last year. We saw it firsthand. Look, there's no obvious guy, right? Like Arch Manning is the one everyone's talking about, but who did he play last year again?
Not a lot.
Right.
He played one play against Ohio State, and I believe I was doing a show with DeVere. He had a nice little quarterback draw to the right, and Lathan Ransom put a forearm into the back of his head, and then and he stumbled out of the picture, and then we didn't see him again for the rest of that game.
Right. And he started a couple games last year, and
you're right over there.
Yes, I'm doing okay. I won't die. I won't die on you.
Just please don't.
He started a couple games last year, I believe, but they were against insignificant opponents. So, like, just to assume that he's going to be phenomenal because of his last name, I think there's some issues there that we've seen in the past.
We're gonna find out, everybody. We will find out on August 30th. Like, it is not that far away. Okay, we are a little over 2 months away from finding out what Arch Manning is, and 2, what this Matt Patricia run defense is going to look like.
Yeah. Lenore Sellers, another interesting one. There was a lot of people that wanted him, a lot of teams that wanted him to jump in that transfer portal this offseason. He did not. He stayed.
He's like Diego Pavia.
Yes. He is holding off Air Nolan down in South Carolina. So we'll see if he can do that. I imagine he will throughout the whole season.
I think he would. And then I was reading a story maybe yesterday about Lenore Seller's dad saying that he had an offer to go somewhere for an extraordinary amount of money. It was like $8 million or something like that. And again, I kind of take it with a grain of salt when you hear extravagant dollar amounts. I'm like, what's real, what's not real? But that he wanted to stay down at South Carolina, and he's made commitments to people. So I think that's a good way to handle that from him.
Yeah, I love that commitment.
I do too. I love the commitment for sure. So yeah, we got a lot of interesting quarterback stuff happening around the country, but that was Reese Davis's 5. Maybe tomorrow we'll just do our 5. All right, what do you think about that?
Gonna have to plan ahead.
There is the Power 5.
Yeah, there is the Power 5. You're right, Reimer. That is correct. So we'll do that tomorrow for our Power 5. No, we won't, actually. Hey, Columbus is now home for Will Howard. That's next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Whatever you're doing right now, just know that Bo Bishop is enjoying a sip of bourbon, even if this promo is playing in the morning. No judgment.
Ah, sweet morning drinking.
The Fan.
It's your lucky day, because at Speedway, there's a $5,000 winner every single day. All you do is shop with Speedy Rewards. Then play the in-app game for a chance to win $5,000 in cash. So you could win $5K today, or the next day, or the next day, or the next... Okay, you get it. New daily cash winners only at Speedway. Are you next? No purchase necessary. Ends 1/6/26 USDC 16 plus. For official rules and free gameplay, go to 5k-a-day.com/rules.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. And no matter what tasty choice you make, our low prices add up to big savings. Plus, you get over $600 in digital coupons each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump and points. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
We've got a story about a little bean doing big things. Soybeans are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we use every day. And Ohio's farmers are growing some of the world's best soybeans. By using and eating soy-based products, you make a positive impact locally and globally. Say hey to the largest ag export in the U.S. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts. And for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
Join our resident gambling degenerates Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money Sunday morning at 9.
Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
All the action, none of the responsibility. The Fan.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
They're trained. They're prepared. Let's do it. They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Drying out on this Thursday, breezy and cool. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Overnight will fall back down to around 60 with fair skies and light winds. And after a comfortable start, a warmer finish for the first day of summer, back in the mid-80s by Friday afternoon. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
Someone out there probably thinks we spend too much time talking about the Buckeyes. Please tell someone that they're stupid. You're listening to the Buckeye Show.
Hanging out here on a Thursday at the Murph Dog, Patrick Murphy in studio with us. Always a good time. Pat, you'll be back with us tomorrow.
I will.
Other than the 10-minute segment, Beers and Buckeyes. You're going to step out of the hall.
Yeah.
We're just going to call you on the phone. Or we could catch the Cubs-Mariners game, what we were talking about earlier, and do the show. I have a buddy who lives up there, Nick. Hopefully his lovely daughter and wife are doing just fine. Side note, she was actually born during the Rose Bowl. His wife was in labor during the Rose Bowl. Wow. He is an Ohio State grad, and she was in labor, and he's running around, and he's like, hey, Ohio State scored again. And Jasmine, his wife's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't. We have bigger issues. And he's
Busy
like, I'll be right back. Hey, they scored again. So then they had to go to the hospital. He's like, luckily, it was halftime before we had to go to the hospital, so the game was already done and dusted. But he was very nice enough to offer, if we want to do the show tomorrow from his house after the game at Wrigley, we could possibly do that.
I'm in.
I agree. Let's do it. Are we driving or flying?
I think flying would be well, I guess we don't have to get back. So.
Yeah, we don't have to do a show.
I don't have anything going on this week.
I don't either. I got nothing. Meredith and Willie are still up in Michigan, so I'm just hanging out. It's literally, actually, I have a golf game to get back to on Saturday, but
we can make it back by Saturday.
Yeah, we can make it back by Saturday. That would be fine. I was reading this earlier today. Actually, I've had a beer with this nice lad, Andy Backstrom. You brought him over to watch a Manchester United game one time. So.
A couple times, actually.
Yeah, I don't remember the couple times. I remember the one. Maybe I wasn't there for a couple of them. But he was writing an article on Yahoo today, and he said Will Howard is from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. All right? And starting his pro football career in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. Almost 5 months after helping Ohio State win its first national championship in 10 years, Howard returned to the Buckeye State last weekend following the conclusion of Steelers' mandatory minicamp. Howard hosted a camp in Pickerington for kids ages 6 to 16. I love this, too. This is great. I think when Buckeyes of all backgrounds come here to Central Ohio, even though they're not necessarily from here, they come here, they're able to do the camps for the kids. Said Howard walked into the field, the Pick North football field, Saturday morning, the old home of his Ohio State and Steelers teammate and defensive end Jack Sawyer, did so with Hang On Sloopy blaring in the background, and said, well, the kids in attendance were just shouting, "We want Will," as he's doing his media availability, which is good. I was watching some of it earlier. You could barely hear what Will Howard is saying. Of course. You've got kids who are very excited to get to meet, the national championship winning quarterback at Ohio State. But here is where Will Howard talks, and you've had a chance to cover him, Pat, for the last year, and seems like a pretty unbelievably great young man, as do all the Ohio State players on the roster. See, it's crazy, right? They're chanting my name right now. It's crazy. I love this place. I was only here for 1 year, but man, this is a place that I'm going to call home for forever. So it's always good to be back. He hasn't been gone that long.
No.
And he's already calling it home. You're welcome anytime, Will. This is home for you. And we see a lot of Buckeyes do it who necessarily aren't from here originally. They come to Ohio State, they go, they play professional football, and then they come back. That is a massive selling point, I'm sure, over at the Woody, what this city can do for you after your playing career is done.
Absolutely. It's different than a lot of places. Like, it's not L.A., we were talking about USC earlier, but it's also not Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah.
No offense to people who live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Never been there. I'm sure it's a nice town, but it's a town.
Yeah.
Athens, Georgia, things like that. Columbus is a big city. There's plenty to do here. Is the weather perfect all the time? No, but it wasn't that case, or wasn't the case in Pennsylvania. Wasn't the case at Kansas State.
It won't be the case
Manhattan.
in Pittsburgh this year for them. They will have a bad weather game or multiple.
Yes. So, look, I think a lot of guys realize that, and I think the reputation's gone out. And I think it's true in other sports too. The Blue Jackets, the Crew, guys come to this city and are like, oh, it's an affordable city. There's a lot going on. It's a growing city, things like that. And look, Will really got into this Buckeye family. Like you talk about the brotherhood.
He bought in.
Yes, capital B brotherhood. And I think most guys do, like even some of the guys that have only come in for a year, but I think it helps that you win a national championship, right?
I think so.
But even before then, you could just tell, like losing to Michigan, if you just sat into Will Howard's press conference after that game, you'd think he'd been at Ohio State for 4 or 5 years.
You thought he was Cody Simon.
Yes.
They were on the same page, and Cody was breaking down in tears.
Right, exactly. And I talking to Will when he was back for the Combine and just the way he talks about this program. And look, he's always very careful to also mention his time at Kansas State was great and everything. I mean, he's just a good kid, as you said. And so I think it's awesome that he's already coming back to do these things. I believe he was with Jack Sawyer for this, right?
Yep.
So, 2 teammates again with Pittsburgh. I imagine they will both. It's not that far of a drive. I imagine they will both be back frequently, and I think it's awesome that players feel that way. I said that winning a national championship helps. I don't know if every school is the same. Like if you go to pick your top program for a year and you win, I don't know if you're always going back. And I think that should be pointed out that it's different with this program in this city.
I think it's a good point, and you could argue like the Joe Burrow effect, right? Because we saw him, we saw Joe. That was 2 years. He was down at LSU for 2 years, but that 1 year that he had was one of the most magical, dominant football seasons that you've seen. To you, Pat, and you got a chance to cover Will for a year. And his legacy is going to be written in Pittsburgh, and he's obviously got his entire career in front of him. But when it comes to legacy talk, Will Howard at Ohio State, to you, what was the defining moment of the Will Howard era, that being one season capped off, obviously, by a 16-game season in a national championship?
I don't know if it's a defining moment, but when he took off on that run and tripped over nothing, that was a moment that came up so many times. Like it came up again at the Combine or at the Pro Day. Like I don't know why that moment will stick. I mean, look, the throw to Jeremiah to seal the national championship, obviously an iconic moment. But I feel like when you think of that moment, you probably think of Jeremiah more than anything, right? But Will had some.
Was it the Texas game where he slipped?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think it was the Texas game, right? And then he had fun afterwards. He's like, I just wanted. I forget what his reasoning was.
Running the clock,
Yeah.
He knew. I think he said he trusted his teammates. We'd get the job done on the next play or whatever. I mean, I think some of the moments that'll stand out to me and probably people that got to cover him have nothing to do with on the field. Like as soon as he came, he was always was willing. He said the first time he did media with us, he would be there win or lose, and he was throughout the season.
Well, and it was interesting too, because I mean, you've been covering Ohio State for a long time. I've been in this city for a long time in a capacity. It was also the first time Ohio State ever did this, and I don't know, and I haven't talked to Jerry about this. I haven't talked to Coach Day about this or any of the coaches over there. It was the first time that you got a weekly press conference with the quarterback. Like he did that every week.
Yeah.
Because you always get to talk to the coordinators. You always get to talk to offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach during the middle of the week. But never before had you had strictly a Will Howard press conference as well.
Yeah, they'd done it fairly regularly with Justin and CJ.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know if it was every week like that. And I think Will just felt responsible for this team, even though, like we said, it was new to him. He was a 1-year guy, but he wanted to be the one to stand up there and face the music when it wasn't good and, get the accolades, so to speak, when it was. And I thought he was always well prepared for things like that. And look, I think it reflected in the way he played. And part of the reason I think that this place means so much to him is because how much better he got. Like, if you think of Will Howard coming out of Kansas State, like I had my questions about.
I think everybody had their questions.
Yeah,
what
is this really
dude,
the guy?
What is this dude gonna do? I think if you rewind the clock to last year at this time, the question was, what is he? What is Will Howard capable of? And we knew that we were talking about all offseason, like, he's maybe not so efficient at the deep ball, but he's got some legs. He can burn you there. But is he going to be a game manager? Is he going to take the game over? Can you handle the pressure when you have Urban Meyer and Jim Tressel out there saying, Urban specifically, that this is the most loaded roster ever and they should hands down win a national championship? Like, that's a lot of pressure to be stepping in from. Nothing against Kansas State. It's a lovely place. It's a very good football program. The standards are a little bit different here in Columbus than they are in Manhattan.
Absolutely. And think about Will Howard's season. Like, you lose to Oregon because he slides like maybe a half second.
He took that on the chin, too.
Yes, absolutely. And then the Michigan game, he takes that hit in the first half. Never looked right after that. Well, he had the one drive right before halftime.
Got smoked.
Yeah. And, they said they did all the right things. I'm not questioning that. But comes back, helps lead this team through the playoff run. You obviously know what he did there. But I think slightly different. And you're talking about Will Howard as maybe an undefeated national championship quarterback as well. I think he's happy with how things turned out. I think the adversity is good for all those guys, and I think it probably was big for the way he responded. And in the playoff, he looked every bit of an NFL quarterback.
He was the best quarterback in the playoffs. Out of the 12 teams, he was the best. He was on fire. He was out of control in that 4-game stretch. I think the biggest thing for me, and you talked about the Michigan loss and you talked about the Oregon loss, and he was never shying away from the comments. He was always in front of the microphone, and that was something that he echoed to you guys that he would do, win, loss, draw, that he's going to be there. I think one of the bigger defining just situations was going on the road to Happy Valley against Penn State. She was on the opposite foot. Drew Aller, Ohio kid, he went to Penn State. Not good enough for Will Howard to be offered from Penn State, so he has to go to Kansas State. So, there was a lot of stuff going on that week for both quarterbacks. Opening drive of the game, pick 6 in Happy Valley against Beaver Stadium, one of the most loud rocking places in college football.
For sure.
That could have been a Penn State tidal wave. James Franklin and Penn State could have gotten over the hump, and then Ohio State came back to win the football game. If there was a situation in which he was going to crack, it was going to be that.
Well, and don't forget, he fumbles going into the end zone, too.
I did forget about that.
He cost Ohio State, I don't mean this negatively, but literally 14 points in that game.
I totally forgot about the fumble through the end zone.
Yeah, and he still brings them back to win. And I don't think there was anyone more fired up than Will for that last drive, where all he did was hand it off.
6 minutes and 40 seconds of just running the ball.
Yeah, it's not like he led them down the field, passing the ball all over the place, maybe running himself. It was let's run the dang ball, like his hats say.
Yes, because there was a lot of heat around the program and the offensive line and how they can't run the ball.
Yeah, and I think he was as happy as anyone to kind of end that game in that way, which, again, I don't think most quarterbacks want to just hand the ball off, and ice a game.
But he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And 100%. They did. And he had a couple of big runs in there as well. Don't forget that. The Buckeye men's hoops team is trying to take the pressure off of Bruce Thornton this season. That's in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Discover uncompromising quality at a reliable price with Giant Eagle in Market District. Look for signs throughout the store highlighting lower prices. Surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle. Experience value like never before. Visit Giant Eagle today to see how easy it is to save.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
With over 33 years in business, Newman Roofing believes white glove services shouldn't be a thing of the past. From the first call, you'll be greeted with friendly professionals to answer all your questions. Special financing options available now, so call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Hey, Ohio State fan,
Are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grill Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We here at The Fan believe there's no such thing as too much Ohio State coverage. You're locked into the Buckeye Show.
NBA Finals coming up tonight, 8 o'clock. We'll get you out there. I believe the game starts at 8:30. Think the series is going to be extended, Pat, or do you think that the Thunder are going to rein in a trophy for the first time?
I hope we get another game. When the Lakers are no longer in, I'm always rooting for as many basketball games as possible. Yeah. Though I do have 2 good friends who are both Pacers fans.
Yes,
so
sir.
For them, I do know 1 Oklahoma City fan, I guess, too, now that I think about it, but not as well as these 2. So hopefully we get a game 7. I think that'd be fun. And fitting of this series because it's been crazy.
It has been crazy. I just hope everybody has fun tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Over in Indianapolis at the Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Rhyme time, you're the basketball guy. Are we getting a game 7 or do the Thunder lift the Larry O'Brien tonight?
I think we will get a game 7.
Ooh. Okay.
I think we'll see the adjustment the Pacers made from game 2 to game 3 where they turn up the defensive pressure a little bit more.
At home, too,
yep,
right?
Going to have the crowd up with you.
You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose an elimination game and give away the Larry O'Brien trophy on your home court.
I am worried, though, because Tyrese Halliburton has the injury.
Yeah, but he's playing tonight.
Will Rick Carlisle in the 4th go with T.J. McConnell if Halliburton is showing some signs of weakness?
No, that's when he comes alive.
But that was wild in the last game. T.J. McConnell gave you so much to get back in that game, and then he just sits on the bench for I don't know. It was way too long. And I thought that who knows what happens if T.J. McConnell plays over Halliburton, but he really helped turn them around, and I was surprised they didn't go back to him quicker.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just got to keep going with the hot hand, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. You have to. So that's coming up. We're going to get you to Indianapolis, coming up top of the 8 o'clock hour, get you to Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. We were listening to some Jake Diebler a little bit earlier on. I thought this, and I was talking a little bit about this last night. We had Tony Gerdeman on, and he was over.
My guy.
Yeah, my guy too. Love Gerd. Very good at what he does. And he was talking about maybe escaping some of the heat of the Ohio State 7-on-7 camp and going over to the Shot to talk to Jake Diebler.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just fascinated by the opening line of questioning from Adam Jardy. He was just saying, what's the difference this year and last year? Main difference so far. And it really popped off the page to me that Jake Diebler said, well, we've played more 5-on-5 basketball already being a week and a half in camp than we did all of last preseason.
Right.
So that already is a good sign for this team. And I've said many a times that I don't think that there's anybody in college basketball more deserving of playing in the NCAA tournament than Bruce Thornton. And he was asked the strategy this year, what it's going to be like for Bruce. And he said, we just got to find ways to take pressure off of him.
As the season went on last year, we tried to move Bruce around and, in the half court. Certainly because he was so efficient as a scorer, right? But it was a heavy load that we asked him to carry last year. And, being able to have guys create for him sometimes makes it easier for him and also made us harder to guard. So we feel like we have way more playmaking in general, which will be really helpful for us. There's going to be a lot more space on the court, which is something we tried to do going into last season, but as the season wore on, we weren't able to do it the level we wanted to. We're going to be able to play with more pace this year. We played faster than Ohio State's played in a long time. However, it wasn't at the level we'd like to get to. I think the collective basketball IQ will help with that. The space will help with that. So, listen, it's hard as a coach, right? Because you want Bruce out there every minute, all the time, and involved in everything. But there's a reality to it. And so I feel like this roster is more equipped to, have some more versatility, variability offensively. which will be important for us. And then guys being able to pray for him be able to pray for others, that should happen a little bit more.
I mean, there were multiple games last year, Pat, where he was playing 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Like, he's not coming out of the game. And it sounds like the Jake Diebler, with the way that they've constructed this roster for this year and the way that they're practicing, not necessarily that you don't want him in there in crunch time. You obviously would want Bruce Thornton to be in there, but you can give him some more spot time. That way down the stretch, maybe he's got his legs under him a little bit more. At least that's what I was kind of hearing from Jake Diebler.
100%. And that was the hope last year. Remember, you had Michi Johnson on that roster, right?
Yes.
And that didn't work out for whatever reasons. But that was the plan, was, okay, let's bring in a guy like Michi who can do some of, he's a different player than Bruce, but he can handle the ball. He can do some scoring, take some of the pressure off Bruce. We can play him at the one and move Bruce off the ball as well. Then you hope John Mobley comes on. John had to do that a lot quicker than anyone expected. And
he did just a fine job.
He did. But that now you have a bit more depth there. Tayson Chapman's back. He was out last season with an injury. We talked about Gabe Cupps earlier. I think his experience playing in Indiana will be helpful. He's not the same type of player, but can certainly run the point. Mobley,
he is a prototypical point guard.
Absolutely.
Is what he is.
Yes. And so not only can you get Bruce rest so that late in games you get the best version of him instead of an exhausted version of him, which is what we've often seen.
And an exhausted version is still very good.
Yes, absolutely. But now you can also make it difficult for teams to focus on him as much by putting the ball in other guys' hands, running him through screens, playing him off the ball. And I think that just makes him even more dangerous because he is not your prototypical point guard. He is a guy who can score at different levels. And when he doesn't have to facilitate as well as scoring all the time, I think it makes him ultimately a better player.
His last 5 games, Bruce Thornton last year for Ohio State, 40 minutes against UCLA, 21 points. 36 minutes against USC, 20 points. 48 minutes against Nebraska in double overtime, 29 points. Loss on the road at Assembly Hall to Indiana, 35 minutes and 9 points. And then the final game of the season in the Big Ten tournament, loss against Mount Fran in Iowa, 38 minutes and 24 points.
Yeah, it's just
it's a lot.
It's too much. Frankly.
It's too much. You're right.
There are guys that can do it, and Bruce certainly can do it, but
he's done it. He's obviously he's done it before.
Right. But you want to have, I think back to, what was it, Michigan, where he missed that bunny.
Yep.
Like, that's just a guy whose legs are beat, right?
He also played 40 minutes in that game.
Yeah. So if you can get him 35 minutes in that game and he's not holding the ball every time down the court, bringing it up and whatnot, I think you will have a better version of him for sure. And look, it gets other guys involved. If Gabe Cupps can facilitate a little bit more, now you've got Bruce going and maybe Devin Royal going, and now you don't maybe necessarily have to go to Bruce. You can use Bruce as a decoy at times.
Decoy Bruce.
Yeah, which, look, there's still going to be attention on him, right?
Yes, there should be.
Yes, absolutely. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Jake talked a lot about it a lot last year of wanting to do that, but they were just limited in the options they had.
It kind of reminds me, and this was very, very pointed from Ohio State football last year, that they were obvious that they were running plays slower than they ever have.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you remember back to the beginning of the season, because they expected it was going to be a pretty long season for them, and it turned out to be true. Longest season that any college football team has had, playing 16 games. But it sounded like what Jake Diebler is saying right there was almost as pointed as Ryan Day was last offseason. Like, we are going to slow it down, and they're going to run a very different offense. It sounds like where Jake Diebler wants them to be run and gun, and they want to run some breakneck pace. Not necessarily talking about that, but at least with Bruce, I'm almost looking at, we need to protect you from yourself a little bit. Because Bruce Thornton, if you offered him at the beginning of any game, he's like, I would want to play 40 minutes. Right. That's the kind of competitor that he is. But it does seem like there is a big effort from the Ohio State basketball program to protect Bruce and make sure in late game situations, if you do have a close game, that he is going to be firing on all cylinders.
We're talking about the NBA Finals just a second ago. The Indiana Pacers have 10 guys that they can rely on. They're not the most talented, maybe 1 through 5, right? But they're there because of their depth. They trust guys to play. I think that is where Ohio State, if you can get to that, because you don't have the elite players, the one and done type guys that are going to go top 5 in the draft. Okay, so we have Bruce Thornton. He's really good. but we need other guys to also be really good with him, and we need that bench to be effective and things like that.
Which is something that it really, for the most part, was not last year.
No. I mean, think about when Bruce wasn't in the game and how things went, or when they did have some injuries or things like that. Aaron Bradshaw gets suspended early in the season. Like, you just don't have the depth to deal with that. And okay, now you're moving guys around positions and people playing out in different roles than they expected.
Now you're undersized. Now you got to run if you want to get points at all. Like, it just it changes up what you're doing.
Yes. And so if you can do more of the collective while still having your guys who are going to be getting the ball in clutch moments, I think that is a better recipe for success for Ohio State than, hey, let's have Bruce Thornton dribble, try and create his own shot, maybe pull up from three and live with what happened.
No, let's let Matthew Grujic do that. That's your guy, Reimer. You love that. You love Deebs going international.
Oh, yeah, I'm all over it.
I wasn't here when we got both his commitment and Miles Hero, the younger brother of Tyler Hero, as well. I mean, that's some exciting pairing that you got.
Yeah, I think Grujic will bring a lot. He's played professionally over there, obviously, so brings some pro-level experience. He's long, athletic, can get into some passing lanes defensively. Really, he's a knockdown shooter, spot-up shooter, so that's huge for Bruce being able to create for him, or I would like to see Mobley create off the bounce as well a little bit more, too. And if you got a spot-up shooter like that, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So it's a good job out of Jake Diebler, 25-minute press conference. I know that you guys have it over on Bucknuts. I was watching Steve's video a little bit earlier of him posting that. So if you want to go listen to the whole Jake Diebler press conference, you can certainly do that over at Bucknuts, which is who Pat works for.
That is, yes.
Including here.
Yes. They employ me, and now I'm also here.
Yes. Hashtag Buckeyes next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Cowan Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain inter-office emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You can save big on 6 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium, presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
This promo is for anyone who likes baseball or America or Terry Francona's scooter. The Reds are on the Fan. Catch all 162 games here on the Fan and 1460 ESPN Columbus and the Fan's HD2. Your home for Reds baseball, the Fan.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
What does it mean to live here, serve here in the Ohio Army National Guard?
It means I can attend college full-time and not have to take out student loans to pay for my tuition.
It means I can work my civilian job during the week and support my state and nation in times of need.
You too can live here, serve here as a member of the Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with full-time benefits at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard in coordination with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at the Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
#Buckeyes. Today's fan poll at 971thefan.com or on Twitter at 971thefan. I don't know how this became the fan poll today. I'm not in charge of the fan poll anymore.
It's from Tyvis because he's a sicko.
Okay, it's from Tyvis.
He's insane.
What was the context behind this?
He drives while eating a Chipotle burrito.
Okay, that's a little crazy.
Yes.
Like not burrito bowl.
A full-on burrito.
In
yes.
his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like Ron Burgundy and Anchorman.
Yes.
Boy, this burrito is delicious, but it is so filling.
I've done it. You got to get somewhere. Like, I don't do it all the time. If I can get home or get where I'm going, I won't do it. But
the fan poll is, would you choose to eat a Chipotle burrito while driving? Yes, I can multitask. No, I like to sit and enjoy my food. I mean, I feel like with today's day and age and with everybody not driving while they're driving and just that's their least priority on their board. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it. Also, if I know I'm driving somewhere for like an extended period of time, like an hour, and you want to get something to eat before, the last thing that I'm going to get before that road journey is going to be Chipotle.
That would make sense.
Yeah, get something else. There's plenty of other things to get.
Yeah. The option should have been no because I'm a normal person.
Yeah, no because I'm average. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, so that was the fan poll today. I would just not recommend eating a burrito while driving.
Yeah, it's probably not the best food. Though, like, what is? What's your most edible driving?
I feel like a sandwich is pretty normal. Yeah. A sandwich is pretty easy. Nuggets are very easy in the car.
Nuggets are good.
Yeah.
Sandwich, like if you get a sandwich or a burger, I'm always worried I'm going to drip something on myself.
Yeah, that's true. So like a car slice, or I mean with the Ohio style, the car little pieces of pizza, those are bite-sized. Like that's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, you could do that for sure.
Yeah, I think I would change my answer now. I think it's either nuggets or I think it's a little bite of pizza.
Okay.
I think is what is ideal. What about for you? Is that a solid answer?
Yeah, I think those all make sense. I just generally get it and figure it out afterwards.
Yeah, I do too. Usually I just take it home. Usually I don't leave my 20-minute bubble. I come to work and then I go home and I have the places that I go and I either eat it there or bring it home to enjoy.
Can confirm.
Yeah, yes you can. Patrick, if there's one thing you can confirm with me, that is I don't leave my house very much.
Hey, Beeb, do you want to do? No, I don't.
No,
okay,
I don't.
See you next time.
There's, very earlier on in our friendship, we were. It was like a Saturday. It was Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. I was doing nothing, hanging out, and we're in a group chat. You know, we suffer through Manchester United games together a lot. We get to enjoy the crew together. So we've bonded over soccer for a long period of time. And we're in a group chat with like 5 or 6 different people. We talk all the time. And I sent out a text on like a Saturday afternoon. I said, hey, what's everybody up to today? And you saying, well, why, do you want to do something? And I said, no. I was just asking, curious what everybody was up to. I don't want to hang out. I was just wondering what you guys were doing.
This was one of the strangest texts text back and forth that I've ever been a part of. Like, I showed Sarah, my fiance, when she came home, just like, why did Brandon do this? She's like, I guess he just wanted to know what people were doing.
Yeah,
this is infuriating to me.
I was wondering if you guys were having any fun today.
Yeah.
That was it. I didn't want to hang out. I didn't want to see you.
I got excited because I was like, oh, Beam's suggesting we do something. Like, this should be good for this Saturday.
I'm already doing something else. You're not invited.
Yeah, apparently not.
Let's go to the YouTube chat real quick. Panda Man said, I tried. Ended up dropping half my burrito. Not worth it. Craig says, Wendy's burger, McDonald's burger, easy to drive with. Their food is made to drive with. Burgers, fries, McNuggets. Yeah, I agree with that.
We were talking about those recruiting camps earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So they start at noon-ish, but often they will have some of the prospects, not the kids that just paid to go there, out working out with some of the coaches beforehand. So I would try and get there sometime between 10 and 11, depending on the day. And generally, I wouldn't have time to make lunch. So I would just run through, like, there's a McDonald's right by me. And, that's one. The one thing, though, is that if you have the wrapper that it comes in on your lap, and then you roll down the windows, it's trying to go everywhere. So you got to go windows up for that, I think. Or just deal with the consequences.
AC situation.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want lettuce flying all over the place. Who else did you see at those recruiting camps?
Yes, I'm glad you brought this up. I did forget. I said to Beam during the break, Cooper Witten.
Yeah. Famous last name?
Yes.
Jason Witten's boy.
Yes. He was working out with James Lordice. We talked about him earlier before one of the camps. And that guy, there were a few linebackers in that group that were impressive, but he was obviously one that everyone was aware of. His dad, not there for that camp. His dad did apparently go to the Notre Dame visit, but that was a weekend visit.
Yes.
His dad, I believe, is also his high school coach.
His dad was there for the earlier visit that happened
he went
sometime this spring. And then they were also going to Notre Dame the very next day.
Yeah. So his dad went on the visits, not necessarily the camp trips. But I thought he was very impressive. They had a good group of linebackers come through. Not all of them whose names I got, because you just kind of, whoever's there is there.
Come on, Pat, you're the recruiting expert.
Yeah,
you should know these guys.
That's it. You know who would know that? Berm would know that.
Berm would know that. Berm does know that.
Usually I'm asking Berm or Bill Kurlick or Mick Walker, like Mark Gill, like who is this guy? And I'm trying to like match it up with a picture on a website.
Why do I need to know them?
But Cooper Witten was one that I forgot to mention earlier, and a name that I'm not sure of his interest in the Buckeyes. He's a Texas kid, which always makes it difficult to get him out of that state. But Ohio State has A, connections down in Texas, and B, a history of linebackers. We talked about one earlier that's on its way. So keep that name in mind.
What state do you feel like is the hardest to pluck players out of? Because if you look at this Ohio State roster, I mean, they're all over the place.
I actually wrote about where they were from last week. So you can read that on Bucknuts. But I would say probably it's either probably Florida or California, just given in terms of the states that like they recruit in regularly, given the distance, especially for California, and then like Florida schools, Louisiana I'd put up there too. Like,
and they just got a commitment from a kid out of Louisiana, right? 5-star, 4-star prospect, like straight out of LSU's backyard, right out of Baton Rouge.
Yes, but generally LSU or Louisiana kids, especially if they're good, they're going Blaine Bradford, yes. If you are a good kid in Louisiana, especially if you've like grown up in Louisiana, you're born there, you're probably going to go to LSU if you're a top prospect. And like similar to with Ohio, right? We were talking about that earlier. Kids want to play for Ohio State for the most part. But yeah, Florida, like they have a 2029, I believe it is, running back, Elijah Hall, who committed recently out of Florida. And on our message board, it was just like, he's from Florida. We'll believe it when he signs. Like, this is way too early to be concerned about a Florida kid.
Especially, would you say he's a 2029 commit?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Freshman in high school.
Got a few years to figure out where he wants to go.
Yes, he definitely does. But he wanted to commit. So clearly the Buckeyes have have made their mark. And then obviously California, just the distance with how far your family has to travel and whatnot. We were talking about Brady Edmonds earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The connection back to Ohio State, his grandpa's from Cuyahoga Falls, I believe.
Okay.
So there's a big connection there. His family is already willing to travel here because they are also Buckeye fans. So that makes it easier. But if you are a West Coast kid, I think it's probably more likely you stay on the West Coast. But the Buckeyes have found ways to land some of those.
Yes, they have. And 2 out of their top 3 prospects are from California. That being Chris Henry and Caden Dixon-Wyatt. And the second-rated prospect in there is from Louisiana. So everything we just said, it doesn't matter.
Well, Chris Henry is not he just moved high schools. He's from Ohio.
And Caden Dixon-Wyatt is also his teammate at Mater Dei.
Yes, they did. I will give them credit for Caden Dixon-Wyatt, but Chris Henry,
You're not giving him credit for Chris Henry, number 1 player in the country?
They get credit for Chris Henry, but he was an Ohio kid. He was living in Cincinnati. He just moved out, I believe just last year, moved out to California to finish his high school at Mater Dei. So, no, they didn't go into California to get him. He was an Ohio kid. Also, Brian Hartline's like a cheat code, so that's not fair.
No, he's 100% a cheat code. What he's doing is working. All right, let's get our last word in. Game 7 or Oklahoma City Thunder tonight? I've given you time to think about it. Game 7?
Yeah, I'm going to go Game 7. I'm very close, though, because if Halliburton's not right, you saw it in the game the other day where he did not make a field goal. It's tough to play without your best player or second best player, however you look at it. So he needs to be at least decent, I think, for them to do it. But I'm going to say that they've done whatever they need to do medically to get him ready to go.
All 3 of us are going with a Game 7 tonight. We're going to get you out to Indianapolis coming up next. Pat, I had so much fun with you. Let's do it again tomorrow on a Friday night. Good with that?
Love it.
Everybody have an awesome night. NBA Finals are up next. We are back live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Talk to you then. Have an awesome evening. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Bo Bishop is a media legend. We have no idea where the other guys came from. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
The most common form of treatment for the arthritic joints is normally cortisone injections and gel shots and over-the-counter medications. And most patients have tried all of that and are still in pain.
Every day, Dr. Aaron Wolkoff, a QC Kinetics medical director, meets patients who have exhausted every method to get relief. They've been told surgery is their only option.
They want to stay away from that path, and they come to us almost as a last hope. So we're using our own body's properties to help manage pain, to help slow arthritis down, keep the patients active with no downtime, and getting back to what they enjoy doing. I mean, I love what I do.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments from our board-certified providers help heal and restore aching joints. No surgery, harmful drugs, or downtime. Call for your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith, Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University, Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag BuckeyesCare.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town-properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Soy has been keeping secrets, and it's ready to share. Soybeans are among the most versatile agricultural products. They are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we all love and use every day. Ohio is leading the way, developing new uses for soybeans to support our changing world. Soy low-key slays, and I'm here for it. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.